Okay. Court, are we pretty good? Okay. Hi, everyone. Friends, fellow NAIOP members, welcome to your very first Lunch and Learn of the year. I am Taylor Gifford. I'm one of your Developing Leader co-chairs for 2021. And I'm alongside the very talented, if you don't know her, Julia Turpett, who is also the other co-chair for the year. A little background, Julia and I have both been involved in NAIOP and on the council for multiple years. So we're not trying to toot our own horn when we say that we're beyond excited for what this year has in store, but we really are. We have incredible high hopes for bringing back our in-person events, as the year progresses, especially the infamous NAIOP Palooza. So hang in there with us as you hear more information through the year. And just know that beyond us, you have a dedicated council that's been continuingly to work to ensure that we're bringing the value that NAIOP has had in the past for our industry, whether we're virtual or in person this year. So we're working hard and behind the scenes to bring you all these type of programs. And before I kick it over to Carly, who's going to kind of kick off our event, I just want to do a quick kind of housekeeping items. The main one being our mentorship program. If you haven't seen anything about it, the DL mentorship program is kicking off in March, which means you really need to get signed up now. You may be seeing emails coming through from Courtney or Karen from NAIOP, and that's really ensuring that your membership is up to date, that we have you signed up in mentorship. So just don't ignore those emails and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We already have a ton of kick-ass mentors confirmed this year, so we're really, really excited. So we want to see, everybody involved in that, and that's one of the simplest ways to stay engaged and connected with everybody, especially in the beginning of the year. So please make sure you're signed up on that. And then you also should be receiving NAIOP emails. So maybe check your spam, your junk folders, and just make sure that they're not going there. You'll have the first DL download, which is the newsletter, will come out next month. So that will give a little bit more information on what we have upcoming. And then our annual Lunch and Learn with the new mayor, Todd Gloria, is going to be in February. So that's going to be virtual. You can always go to NAIOP's website, the San Diego NAIOP chapter, and look at events to register there. So lastly, we are encouraging cameras and faces for this one. So if you're unsure of what to do, definitely feel free to have your camera on. We want you to feel engaged and present for everything that Brian's going to pass on to us. So we really want it to be engaging. And now I'm going to kick it off to Carly, who is part of our DL Council, and she'll take it from here.
Thanks, Taylor. As she mentioned, my name is Carly Glova, part of the Education Committee and University Outreach Committee for the Developing Leaders Group. I'm also the founder and president of Building Careers, which is an executive search and recruiting firm serving the commercial real estate industry. I work closely with Julia Turpett, mentioned earlier, and we love to hear from you, whether you're hiring, open to new opportunities, or just need a free career sounding board. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Brian, who's worked with thousands of commercial real estate companies and brokers who are motivated to position themselves for success using the LinkedIn platform. So take it away, Brian.
Great. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm going to just get right into it and share my screen to start. And I know that, with a large group of professionals, that we're all going to have different levels of LinkedIn experience, and some of you are going to know some things, but my goal today is that there'll be something for everybody, at least one takeaway and one immediate actionable item that you can do. So my background is on my LinkedIn profile, so I won't spend a lot of time going into what I've done, who I've worked with. It's really about you guys and how we can get you using LinkedIn, getting in front of more people virtually, having more appointments, getting more referrals, and using the platform properly versus a lot of activity that people are taking more spammy, right? Probably a lot of you are getting inundated with your inbox and email funnels and things like that. LinkedIn is definitely not the same platform as you would do an email marketing campaign. There's also a lot of people out there that will say, well, LinkedIn is social media, and I don't really want to post, and I don't want to create content, and I don't want to do. You don't have to do any of that, right? I'm going to provide you a lot of options. Some of you may use all the options, some of you may use just one, right? But it's really personal preference. But I want to let you know is I want to shift the mindset where it's not something else I need to manage, right? You're going to want to manage LinkedIn because it's B2B, right? Yes, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, but this is the only true platform that we know hands down is B2B, and it's business. And that's what we're here for, right? We want to spend our time prospecting, building relationships, creating opportunities. So there's a few things as far as house cleaning goes on LinkedIn. The first thing is the LinkedIn profile. Many of you have a profile. Some of you have it filled out really well. Some of you have a sparse profile. There's 22 sections of the profile. We could spend 2 hours simply on getting you ready to go, right? So it's all about using the system. But ultimately, if you're going to use LinkedIn, you have to keep in mind you're driving people back to your profile. And the profile's purpose is really, for one thing, in my opinion, is would I accept this person's connection request? If I send you a connection request, you're going to scan my profile and look for things and decide, should I or should I not let Brian into my network, right? So we really want to make sure we have that curb appeal on our profile. It's a 30-second snap judgment someone's going to make. It's either a yes or a no. The other thing to pay attention to is when you're connecting with people, don't try and combine a connection request with a sales pitch or a reason that you're reaching out. Imagine you're sending a text to somebody, keep it short and sweet. So, we're going to get into different ways we can connect with people. We can connect because we're other San Diego professionals, right? Just in general, I could say, hi, Carly, I'm looking to connect with other San Diego professionals. Thanks in advance for connecting. She's going to say, okay, I wonder what why he's reaching out to me, but she'll look at my profile and she'll decide yes or no. And hopefully I'm positioned well enough that she sees mutual connections, something there that says, okay, I'll let him into my network. Once you get into someone's network, you're now a direct, first degree connection, which means you have access to their contact information. You can send them a direct message, right? You can get more deeper into the conversation. So reach out to connect. The second is reach out and say why you were connecting. That's okay to say, the reason I reached out, Carly, was because I see blank, 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 right? And then create that conversation to go offline to a phone call or a Zoom meeting. But don't get in the habit of saying, thanks for connecting. Here's my website. Let's schedule a calendar link. Here's a little bit about me, and here's a PDF you can read. That's just going to really put people off. And it's not about you, right? It's about understanding how you can work with them or how they can get referrals. So case in point is really spend time on your profile. And the only thing I'm going to say about the profile is I'm going to show you one area. So you click on your profile. There's 22 sections of the profile. Obviously, there's your headline your contact information. Just make sure your contact information is current, right? I can't tell you how many people have websites that are not working, right? Or the old company they worked for is still have on the. So let's not send business to your old company, right? Or advertise for your previous employer. Take advantage of the fact that you can add 3 websites, right? So if you have a company page, you have your personal YouTube channel and Instagram, you can put those here, right? And then choose the other function, which will allow you to put in more space, right? It's all about keywording on LinkedIn. And then in your address, you can actually put whatever you want. You don't have to put a physical address. This is free real estate on your LinkedIn profile to put a tagline, put services you offer, whatever you want. So you can really be creative and go outside the lines with LinkedIn. Another thing is your LinkedIn profile. A lot of you may have a -652Z8W, right? You haven't edited your public URL. So you want to take advantage of a clean URL. So you would edit here in your contact info, and then you'll click on your URL. And you can use this for a tagline. I could say edit custom URL right here, right? And I could say Brian Trachel sells San Diego, right? And I could make that my tagline. So take advantage of these low opportunities to customize. And I'm seeing a few things in the chat. I'm not able to answer the chat myself. So if there's anything there, let me know. Okay, so again, LinkedIn profile, the main thing is add profile section. The number one section people don't use is the biggest one, right? It's called accomplishment section. So click add profile section. You'll see everything expands. Accomplishments. You have publications, patents, courses, projects, honors and awards, test scores, languages, and organizations. I would say half the people I work with, or if I do a profile review, they don't even have this section filled out. This is the opportunity to really list all of your experience, because if you look at LinkedIn as an SEO opportunity for visibility, the more you have in there, the more you're going to show up in random searches, right? So everything counts. Everything you've ever done in your life today, from high school to today, and everything in between, put it on your LinkedIn profile, because it will keyword that search result. If you are listing properties, or if you've done a lot of projects or developments, list the under project section. So if you were involved in the downtown La Mesa building, right, put it in there, or if it was for sale. So anything you sold or you were involved in or created, put it under projects, because now you can really use this as a highlight for clients and say, well, if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that I have a history of, multi-million-dollar transactions or multi-million deals, things like that. So I don't want to get into that and spend the whole time on your profile, but take advantage of the accomplishment section, because everything counts. Courses, right? You can put every course. If you're a real estate broker, right, or even a licensed agent, you had to take courses to satisfy that requirement. So list all the courses you took, business law, principles of real estate, you name it, and go down the line. But really get thorough on your LinkedIn profile and do it in chunks, right? Because if you try and sit down and do it in one sitting, you're probably going to get frustrated and nothing will get done. So, definitely take a look at that. And there's a couple of things on the privacy settings, and then I'll get into business development. If you notice in the top right-hand corner, there's a little picture of yourself. You want to go to settings and privacy. And then you want to go to visibility on the left. 3 things I recommend is profile viewing options. If you've never been here, it means that you're going out on LinkedIn, searching, people on LinkedIn, you're leaving a digital trail, right? So if I click this one, you would see that I viewed your profile. Now, some people like to know and let people know that they're looking at them, but I prefer to play the anonymous LinkedIn member. That way I can research all of my prospects and not leave a trail. And the reason I say this is because you can run into the danger of, imagine you're going to meet your prospect or client, a meeting this afternoon, and at the last minute you say, maybe I'll look them up on LinkedIn before I go meet with them. Okay, they're getting notified that you looked at your profile. How would you feel if you knew we had a very big business meeting and, oh, Carly, I might as well look, I just looked you up 5 minutes before the meeting. I don't think that says a professional message, right? So there's going to be some of you that need to know who's looking at your profile. I get that, right? But I also understand I would rather play defense than offense, because I can't really spend my time wondering who's Googling me right now, right? So if you have to know who's looking at you, you can play the toggle game, right? So if I want to know who's looking at me, I'll click on this, and then I'll wait 24 hours the next day and I can see who looked at me for the past 24 hours. But before I start doing research, I always click back to anonymous LinkedIn member. So you can still get around that if you have a burning need to know who's looking at you. Okay, part 2 is who can see your connections. Probably the most important one of the privacy settings is only you. And what I mean is you want to lock down your connections, because anyone that goes on your profile, whether you're connected or not, has access to your book of business, right? And we all work hard to build that book of business. Don't leave it for chance for someone just to come by, go onto your profile and scrape all your contacts. Now, people say, oh, I don't care who I know. I understand that. But with cybersecurity and all these risks out there, why would you take the chance when it's just a simple click to only you? You'll still know who you have in common, right? It's really safer that way. This also answers the question, should I or should I not accept invitations from my quote competitors, right? Also, you'll be able to go into your clients and see, sometimes you'll want referrals, right? But you won't be able to know how to ask. If their connections are exposed, you can go through their database and politely say, hey, I noticed your connections were exposed. I took a quick look to see if you knew anybody in the construction industry, and I saw you had about 30 people. Would it be possible to make some introductions, right? So some of this may be too bold for people, or a little aggressive. You have to choose what your comfort level is, right? But if you're in sales, these are opportunities that can be created. And the third thing we're going to do is you're going to go down to where it says share job changes here and change that to no. So what this means is if you're going to work on your profile today and you don't change that, I'm going to know everything you're doing. It'll say Brian played soccer in high school, update. Okay, Brian did this, update, right? So I'll be that guy that's blowing up your LinkedIn feed because I didn't shut off the no. So just before you get in, roll up your sleeves, do this exercise. I sent it to Carly. So there's 3 steps. So you can have that as a handout for later. But I really think it's important to go over those privacy settings. Okay. All right. So we'll get back to LinkedIn. Now, another thing about LinkedIn is by you becoming a LinkedIn expert is also going to get you appointments just based on that fact alone, right? So I will show you what that looks like when it comes to once we reload here. Okay, there we go. So if your contacts are exposed, it's going to be in blue, right? If you see someone with their name and their contacts are exposed, they're in blue. And I'll show you an example. Let me just get down here. Eventually we'll get there. Okay. Oh, can't find it. Okay, no problem. A lot of screens. So if we did a search, right, we'll do San Diego. So I'm doing a general search of San Diego. So right now in San Diego, there are 2,275,000 people on LinkedIn. So quite a lot of leads, right? And I'm just going to grab I'll click on a profile. And you see how this is in blue, 340 connections. Now, I don't know Jason. I'm connected to him. I'm not highlighting him, but we're on LinkedIn. If I click on his connections, I can go to all filters over here, and I can find out if he knows anybody who is a broker. And I hit apply. And he knows 5 brokers in San Diego, right? So I could literally start connecting with those 5 people if that was my target market, right? Now I'm in Jason's address book right now because he didn't change his settings. And it's pretty scary. I wouldn't do that, but I want to let you know the risk of by not clicking that of what can happen with your competition or just putting information out there. So if I were interested in working with Jason, I would bring this to his attention, of course, right? So I would call him and say, I was on your LinkedIn. I wasn't sure if you were aware of this or not, but your connections are exposed. And they generally say, I don't know what that means. Okay, well, what that means is that right now, as it stands, anybody can go on your LinkedIn and extract your database. And I'm sure that's important to you. If you have a minute, I'll walk you through the process. Are you in front of a computer? Yes, no, right? I'm not Brian. Great. How about I call you tomorrow and we do a quick Zoom? I just got an appointment with Jason to show him how to change his privacy settings, right? Now, when I go back here, but you have to be an expert. You'll have to know how to walk them through that, but we'll get you an appointment and you don't have to talk about what you do, what you sell. We're just really here to help Jason lock down his connections. However, because we're going through the profile, I'm going to also find things about Jason that we're going to have in common, right? So I'll go through his profile and do what I call a profile review. So he went to Johnson and Wales. He's got a culinary degree. Okay. Something I could talk about there, right? He's following Tony Robbins. I can go a little deeper. Oh, hey, by the way, I see you follow Tony Robbins. Have you ever been to any of his events? right? So it's all about how to win friends and influence people, right? I took the Dale Carnegie approach and I'm using it on LinkedIn to build relationships, but I'm never selling in the first call. I'm really just trying to get an appointment. And in that appointment, I'm going a little bit deeper into what do we have in common? Who do we know? How can we work together? Tell me about that experience. What was that like, right? We're all here in sales, so I don't think I need to get into sales 101 as far as building rapport and relationships, but using it LinkedIn information before you make the call is what I really want to point out, because it's all here in front of us that we can use to get more opportunities. All right, so, and also here is his contact info. So I look for two things. One, are their connections exposed? Two, are their websites working? Three, do they have a phone number? Those three opportunities are 3-to-1 says they don't have all of them, right? And now you can reach out to them. So Jason is here. I apologize. He just got the random luck of the draw for the, for the example, but he doesn't have a phone number, right? So I would send him a message, which is highly effective, saying, well, I don't even need, we won't even do what that I'll just speak the message. The message would say, hi, Jason, I saw a few things in your profile that I wanted to bring to your attention. What's the best number to reach you at? Question mark, dash Brian. I usually get a call within 2 minutes, right? What's wrong with my profile? Okay, who are you? What's going on? Right? I said, everything's okay. I just wanted to bring to your attention that your profile connections are exposed. And you may use this, you may not. I just want to give you options to get appointments, right? That's really the key thing, is how can we get an appointment? So message Jason, I didn't see a phone number. What's the best number to reach you? If the phone number's there, I'll of course pick up the phone, call Jason and explain who I am. And here's the cool thing too. If you look at the contact info, I connected with him January 16th, 2018, right? So this is another good indicator on your LinkedIn knowledge to pay attention to these, these buttons where you can really anchor down your conversation, right? And that's going to help me segue into the next module, which is going through my network, okay? Are there any questions that I need to answer? Any comments? Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you. All right. So my philosophy is that people have an idea that we need to go more and more and more. I need more clients. I need more people. I need to connect with more people. Okay. LinkedIn is really cracking down on these requests that you send out. So one, if you're on premium, you're allowed to have about 97 per day, but I would really scale that back, right? Because if someone says, I don't know this person, you get that 3 times, you're kicked off LinkedIn. And I've had a few people recently that were in LinkedIn jail and they were able to get out of it. But you do not want to run the risk of losing your account because you're connecting with people that you don't know. Always send a personal message and try and be strategic about who you're connecting with. If you're on the free version, it's 47 per day, but I always recommend probably 10 to 15 contacts, right? That's if you're trying to expand your network. But the reality is that most of you, if you've been on LinkedIn, you probably have 500 plus connections, right? So I always ask, well, do you know all 500 of those people? Chances are you don't, right? So why are we adding more people every day to our network when we're not even looking at who we have existing that we could really go deeper in the relationship or get more referral opportunities? So what I'd like you to do, maybe if you want or do this later, is go to your network, right? So you click on my network. And thank you everyone for the invitations, and please, please connect with me here. So here's my connections, right? I don't know 10,243 people by name, right? I just don't. So I'm gonna hit connections, and then I'm gonna sort, right? So the step is go to my network. If you want to write this down for the quick formula, is go to my network, go to connections, search with filters. And I was talking earlier before we get on the call, but one question that always comes up is, should I have premium or not? Do I need it or not, right? So the answer is, in my opinion, is no, right? And I'm going to show you how to work around that. The way to get around that one is click is all filters. It's one extra step. And I just open up this board here of filters and parameters that I can sort my contacts. So a couple examples you can use this. One would be Brian, I know you have some contacts in the real estate industry. Would love to see if you can make any introductions. I would say, well, you know, I do. Who are you looking for? Well, I really want people in San Diego. So I click San Diego, and I really want people that were in the US Navy, right? And I also want people that are brokers. So I call this match.com for business, right? We can just really give you the ideal client that you're targeting and the parameters, and I hit apply. So I would say, yeah, okay, I know 8 people that fit that description, and I actually know out of these 8, I actually know 4 of them personally. So I'd be happy to make an introduction. But this is a Zoom call. Hi, Brian, let's get together on Zoom. I wanted to go through our networks together and see how we could help each other and see who you know and see who I know. And maybe we can, you know, do a Zoom and make some introductions for each other. So if you get familiar with how to use LinkedIn and you're comfortable, you can literally help people do this and find leads in their network, right? You just have to walk them through the process. Right. And it also works for the people who have their connections exposed. So, hey, before we change your connection settings, why don't we jump on a call and let's see who you know, then you can set it to only you, right? So let's do that. But you could literally ask me, okay, I'll go back to all filters. So let's say I don't want people that were in the Navy. I want people that went to San Diego State. San Diego State. And I'm going to take out the word broker. And just say, I just want people, but I do want them in the real estate industry. So I'll highlight the industry. So you have all of these filters, and I can click more than one. Say I can do all of these if I wanted to. And if it's not there, I can add it. I can type in, you know, health and wellness, right? So don't just take it at face value. Click and you know, play around in these areas and put your parameters in, because it might show up, right? So I'm talking about, you know, give me the perfect client opportunity. Ask for what you want. So I hit apply. So I have 57 results with that search. All of these people went to San Diego State. So if you're looking for somebody and you went to San Diego State and you had 57 people in your industry that could be potential clients, referral partners, what are the odds of you getting a pretty good opportunity to network, or, you know, that they buy or sell for, you know, something happens? So 57 to 1 says I can send them. These are people I'm connected to, by the way. These aren't people I don't know. So then I do the profile review, and I'll scan their profile, and Troy, I don't know if Troy, if you're on the call, you know, sorry, but 500 connect. So his connections are exposed. Contact info. I would click on his websites to see if they're working, right? 50% of the time they're not, they're part.godaddy. So let me pose the question. If you're in commercial real estate and you have a website, and I'm a client, a developer, and I need someone, and I find you on LinkedIn, I click on your website and it's parked by GoDaddy. How do I feel? How comfortable do I feel about you marketing my property? Okay, so it's really about getting the you know, dialing in, you know, really clean. Like, okay, let's make sure that you're really truly representing yourself, because one little thing can make me feel a little bit not comfortable in moving forward with, you know, hiring you for your services. So call people, tell them, hey, I was on your LinkedIn. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. You may not use it as often as I do, but I noticed that your website that you had, it goes to a different company. Oh, I had no idea. Well, are you in front of a computer? I can show you how to fix that. No, I'm not, Brian. Well, how's tomorrow morning at 9 look? Great. In the old days, I'd say, I'll swing by the office and I'll show you, right? So now we're going to say, well, I'll call you tomorrow. We can do a quick Zoom, or I could just walk you through it over the phone. So look for those opportunities. And again, I apologize, but I'm doing real searches with people. I don't have a canned presentation where I'm going to give you a PowerPoint example. I want it to be live so you can really see how it works. All right. Okay, and I connected 10 years ago. So I could call Troy right now, say, Troy, this is Brian Trachel. I was on LinkedIn. I noticed a few things about your profile. We actually connected about 10 years ago and never probably talked, but we do have some mutual connections. Regardless, I just thought I'd bring this to your attention, and that's it, right? And he's like, okay, great. And then you can go from there. Is a question?
Yes, there's a question in the chat. Are there rules for evaluating who you should and shouldn't let in your network? Should you really know them, or is it okay to accept someone you don't actually, but may be in your industry?
Great question. And everyone's going to set a personal baseline parameter, right? So when you connect with people, or if you have an inbound connection request, and I don't want to pull anybody who's recently connected because you might be on the call, but you're going to send me a connection request. I'm going to look for a couple things. Okay, wait, is there a background photo? Do you have a picture? What business are you in? But what I'm really looking for is, you see how he has 500 plus connections? Is it 501 or is it 5,001? So the LinkedIn algorithm is first degree, second degree, and third degree connections. Every time you accept an invitation, you become a second degree to everyone in their network, right? So whoever's connecting with me today, I have 10,000 connections, right? You now have 10,000 more second degree connections that are going to show up. Say, you may know this person. What you're seeing is my connections in the people also viewed, or who you may know. They're coming from my database and they're being integrated. So that's what starts to happen. And how do I know how many you have? So he has 691 followers, right? Followers, AKA, are your connections, right? So if you told me, Brian, go on my LinkedIn page and tell me how many connections you have, they're usually off by maybe 10 or 20 at the most. But what I'm looking for to answer the question, the long answer, I apologize, but the long answer is, if you have 2,000 plus connections, I'm saying yes, because now I just added 2,000 more second degree connections to my network that I'm going to show up in. So if they have a large network, you don't necessarily need to do business with them. You can accept them and then just not engage and just kind of put that in your connections. So it does help to accept those connections. You have to decide, what is my parameter? I don't accept people from foreign countries, or I don't accept people from this industry. I can't answer that, but what's predicated on is how many followers they have. If someone sends you a connection request, they have 26,000 followers, hands down, you want to say yes, right? Okay, but I'll keep going on that. So, we're talking about the functionality. We'll get back to the homepage. It's really, if you can master the advanced filters, that's where you're going to get the leg up on LinkedIn. So who's my client? Who do I want to talk to? Now, if there's anybody in the audience that wants to raise their hand, switch the screen and create a lead list, I'm happy to do that. If not, someone can ask me and I'll give you leads right out of my address book. So I like to do a live so you can see how quickly it moves, right? So we're in my network. I know a few people. And you might say, Brian, I'd love you to put me in touch with so-and-so, right? So is there an industry? I just want parameters. We don't necessarily need to give me the exact, but I'm going to go into my connections, right? So the formula is my network, connections, and then we're going to go search with filters. And then we're going to go to all filters. And we're going to stay in San Diego. But does anyone have any business outside of San Diego that they'd be interested in expanding? Orange County, LA, Las Vegas. I don't see any comments in the chat, so that's okay. So I'll make one up. I'll say, okay, Brian, I'm moving to Vegas and I'm going to get my commercial broker license there as well and start some developments in Henderson, right? So we're going to go Las Vegas. Right there. And I want to work with people that went to UNLV, right? And then I want also talk to some people who were in real estate. And let's find people that were also, I was in the Air Force a long time ago, so I'll see if I can find some Air Force contacts there. All right. But in this search, I'm going to go outside of my first degree and add second degree. So I hit apply. So I found 3 people in Las Vegas, but that, you have to admit, is a pretty specific search, right? So imagine if I went to UNLV and I was in the Air Force and I was going to Vegas and I was interested in the real estate industry. I have 3 opportunities here as a shot for getting some advice or some help or some direction or a direct result client from this. And then I'll click on their profile. And obviously we're not connected, so I don't necessarily will be able to see all of his contact info, but I can see his website. So if, I'm smart enough to know if I click on the website, I can get a phone number. So a lot of times you don't even need to connect on LinkedIn. A lot of us are caught up in the fact that I need to connect and then follow up. No, I can call Tommy right now and never be connected to him on LinkedIn. The whole goal is for me to get offline as fast as possible. Tommy, hi, this is Brian Rachel. I'm here in San Diego. Reason I was reaching out is I was on LinkedIn. I was doing a search of real estate brokers in Las Vegas that went to UNLV that also had some military experience. I found your profile. I went on your website and I saw your phone number, so I thought I'd give you a call. So the funny thing about that is that script, if you want to call it a script, all I've done is I've told Tommy how I arrived at this phone call. So if you remember all the steps is what it took to get Tommy on the phone, and you use that, that's your script, because it's all true. They're all true statements. I did look him up on LinkedIn. I did look for those filters. I found him, did this. Now I'm on the call. How can you help me? Well, I went to UNLV and I thought maybe could help me out with some direction. I'm looking to invest in Las Vegas, make some connections, and can we maybe set up a meeting, or maybe can I meet you for coffee when I get into town? So right there, U.S. Air Force, UNLV. So it's all the things you've done start to play, and we all know that, things that we have certain associations. You have alumni associations, you have fraternity associations, you have educational type things, or seminar work. There's always a secret handshake. Sometimes you have 3 secret handshakes, right? So all we want to do is have the opportunity for them to accept our invitation based on an interest that we're interested in, right? So you don't always have to do business for transaction's sake. We can start using it based on personal relationships in the same thing. I just had someone this morning who, whose son went to Syracuse and was a big lacrosse player, right? And she actually got a lot of business because her son played lacrosse at Syracuse University, because a lot of people at Syracuse University who played lacrosse are CEOs of companies now, right? So, but they still go back to their lacrosse days. So was there a question there? Okay, great. I'm sorry. I guess you'll let me know when there is. So, all right. So using those alma maters, using opportunities, we go back to my network. And I'm not going to click on his thing. So you'll have to click back a couple times, right? So don't get frustrated if you see like something pop up. Just keep clicking the back button and eventually you'll get out of it. All right. So then there's our filter. I'll go back to those filters. I'm going to get rid of the Air Force. I'm going to get rid of Las Vegas and Las Vegas. What I'd love you to do is see how it says when you go into your network and it says filters, unclick the first degree, because this is really going to paint the picture as far as how many opportunities you're sitting on with your existing LinkedIn network. And I can't stress that enough, is because we want to focus on what we already have, because we're already connected to these people. And if we exhaust that, let's go outside of it to our second degree. So I'm going to hit apply. So 10,000 first degree connections, right? Oh, I have to clear a filter, sorry. But we'll just do a new search altogether. So, but what you want to hit is your second degree. So we'll walk through the process again. If you can get this down, this is going to be helpful for you and your clients and helping other people, with lead generation. So you go to my network and we go to connections. I think the Zoom is slowing down just a hair. Okay, then I go search with filters, all filters, second degree, unclick first, hit apply. Okay, so my 10,000 connections, right? First degree allows me the opportunity to have 1,020,000 connections for introductions. I'll never in 3 lifetimes be able to get through those leads, right? So I would have to filter and say, well, that's a million opportunities, right? But I only want those people that went to San Diego State. And you could put in a title, and I only want people that are CFOs. So I went from 1 million to 106, right? So that's a pretty good lead list of CFOs that went to San Diego State. But maybe that's too many still. So I click all filters and go, I really need them in the real estate industry, right? And now I got it down to 8. And then it's going to tell you who your shared connections are, right? And if you're lucky enough and you know one of these people, you could call them and say, hey, I happen to see you knew Cynthia. How well do you know her? Could you make an introduction? Yes, no, maybe, right? So getting real proficient on the filtering is what's going to help you, fast track your LinkedIn success. It's also going to save you $87 a month, right? So but the trick is that when you do these searches, don't become a random searcher and spend all day going, oh, that's a cool search. Oh, great, there's 100 people there. 1,000 people there. That's when it starts working against you. Every time you do a search on LinkedIn, you have credits, but no one knows how many credits you have. But eventually they're going to say, sorry, you've reached your commercial limit. You can no longer search. You'll have to upgrade to premium. So that could happen within the first week if you're doing all. I just did 1 million search results. So I'm going to get hit pretty heavy for that example because I just showed 1 million results, right? So, when you do a search, you want to save the search, and I'll show you how to do that. So it's just a little hack around saving the search. So I did this search for 8 people. These were my filters: real estate, San Diego State, CFO, right? You see at the top, that's the search result URL. So what I do is I copy the URL. I open up a Word document. I label the Word document San Diego State CFO real estate, right? And then I paste that link. So when I go back and do the link again, I'm not getting dinged for the same search. It's already been searched. Now, since there's only 8, I also have another way, which is very old school, but I'll just literally copy the names and paste them into a Word document. Because if you know the name of the person and you search them, it doesn't cost you any credits or there's no penalty for searching by name because they know you were going direct for somebody. But if you keep searching results, eventually it's going to catch up with you. All right. One other way to do that is when you see a lead, right? I'm going to click on this person here. And LinkedIn has a lot of hidden icons, right? If you look at LinkedIn, it's overwhelming because there's so much happening. So just get really clear and start to look around. So you see this more button. Sometimes you'll find out that you're not able to connect with somebody. It'll just say message. But if you hit the more button, you might be able to connect. But I like to save the PDF. So a lot of you will get on LinkedIn, start searching, get excited because you're going to find some great leads, and then you're going to forget who those people are. So what I do is I highlight their name. Then I click the more button and I save it to a PDF. All right, so it's going to download and it's going to ask me, okay, what's the name? So that's why I copied and paste. Name is Kristen Clement and it's real estate lead. I put that in a folder that says LinkedIn real estate leads. And then when I'm ready to go prospect, I pull up that folder. I don't have to do the search again or remember who was it that popped up, or I can just simply grab their URL and come back to it later. So however you want to do it, I just want to give you as many options as possible. But what's cool about this is if you click on the PDF, it becomes a one sheet. So if you're a sales manager and you wanted to look up leads and by parameters or locations and give them out to the sales team, you could print out all of these lists and give out one sheet leads, and it already has their information. And you can even write notes on it if you wanted to, or at least before you get on the phone and talk to them. So this is a PDF. It's a pretty cool function that you can use. You can also do lead sharing. So the more button. So let's say Kristen isn't my client because I don't handle Carlsbad. I work, downtown San Diego and maybe South Bay. So I click more. I can share the profile in a message. Carly, I hope you and I are connected, right? So I'll send it to Carly. No, we're not there yet. That's okay. So I would just send it to my buddy Matt. Well, I'll just send it to, I'll just put it to anybody, right? And it would share the, it's going to share the link. So either way, go here, share profile, and I would put a message say, hi, Carly, it's Brian down in South Bay. This might be a good lead for you. Kristen is up in Carlsbad. And then you immediately get the link to her profile, and then you can connect with her and kind of see what she's all about. Okay. Any questions or comments on kind of using these extra little buttons to kind of allow yourself to transfer information? You can also remove connections here if you have that person who you don't want to be associated with anymore. You click the more button and you can remove the connection there. So there's a lot of functionality in the more button. You can also request recommendations from people also. People say, hey, I'd love a LinkedIn recommendation. Great. I don't know where to go. Okay, go to the more button and then drop down and then you can do it there. So I know we have an hour, correct? So we're getting into that time frame, 9 minutes to go. I have 90 more minutes I could spend with you on this and that, right? But I do have enough time to at least sneak one more tip in that may help you on the social media side. So if you're not posting, that's okay. You don't have to worry about content creation and all of the marketing elements. Those are important, right? But go to your homepage. It's all about visibility on LinkedIn. So what you want to do is, I call it the 5CL method, and it's super high tech. It stands for 5 comments and likes. But you're going to see that I appear to be on LinkedIn all day long, but I'm not. I'm on it 6 minutes a day. But the perception is this guy's on here all day because my name keeps showing up in your feed, right? So what you want to do is you want to go to your homepage and look for things that you can quickly like, right? So I'm just going to like that. And the other benefit is Aaron just got notified that I liked your post, right? So that's a freebie. And I'm going to go down, be the first to comment on this. So I'm going to like this one. That's 2. And I don't commit to much, right? I'm not going to put anything that's going to put me in a position, right, where it's going to be a debate or a conversation. I'm just wanting to like a few things. But you see Tim Rhodes commented on this. That's what you're going to see. You'll see Brian like this. Brian Trachel commented on this. You're going to see my name quite a few times throughout the day because I'm taking advantage of. So Anthony posted this, but the first thing I see is Tim commented on it, right? Oh, how's Tim doing? Who is Tim? I wonder what he does. Let's see. Oh, it's there. Oh, that's what he does. Okay, maybe I should connect with him. So this is going to also help you find more leads. All right, so let me go down. So comments and likes, right? We're just going to go through. But you don't have to post. If you don't want to post, just piggyback by commenting and liking. 5 a day is fine. But you'll start to see your name, show up. You could share things too, but again, that's just a whole nother level. But Jeremy commented on this, right? And if you want to get really good, you can start liking the comments. That's a whole nother level, right? So you can go, so let's say Jeremy and I haven't talked for a while. I could like it, and then I could like his comment or comment on his comments, right? So it's the same functionality as Facebook, but again, your audience is different. So when I like something, 10,000 people see that I like something. And when I comment, I'm only going to comment very vanilla, like as vanilla as you can be. It's going to say, great post. Thanks for sharing. Good article. Can't wait to read it. Congratulations. But what I'm looking for is an opportunity to be the first one in the thread, right? So if you have a sports team or an organization that you follow, like I just used the example this morning of Whole Foods. Doesn't have to do with business, right? There's Whole Foods Market. You want to follow all the things that you like and love in your life, like brands, anything that you admire, any surf brands, companies, sports teams, follow them all. So Whole Foods has 491,000 followers. Okay, what does that mean for us? Well, this is what it means. It means that Whole Foods posts every day, right? They posted 3 hours ago, and only 2 people out of 400,000 have commented so far. So if you're the first one to the party, your profile is going to sit on Whole Foods' page for as long as that post stays on the internet. And all you said was amazing, thanks for sharing, right? But what happens is they're going to see commercial real estate broker, architect, your real estate agent, right, in your profile, and they go, oh, I should connect with that person. Has nothing to do with your industry, but you both like Whole Foods, and they need a representation in real estate. So again, football teams, it doesn't matter. You can follow 1,000 companies. And what starts to happen is it'll start putting pictures and logos on your profile at the bottom under your interest section. So it'll actually tell a story of, it answers the question, what do you do when you're not working? Or, hey, I can tell by your profile that you're really following a lot of NCAA, college teams. Were you a former athlete? So it allows me to find more things to dig on and bring up in conversation. So I'm going to stop talking and stop my share for the moment, because again, I appreciate you all being here, and I knew that I would be sending a lot of information at a fast rate, but that's why we have the recording. So I'm happy that we can go back and go over some of those tips. But this is really how I kicked off my sales career. I decided a long time ago that instead of me driving around visiting offices, I would sit at my computer and set appointments rather than try to catch people in the office. Right. So when LinkedIn hit the ground running, the first thing I did was I found every real estate agent in San Diego County that was a Boston Red Sox fan. That was it. And I called them up and said, hey, I was on LinkedIn. I was looking for other Red Sox fans in San Diego. I found your profile. I see you're in real estate. I'm going to be by your area next week. You want to talk some baseball? Come on down, Brian. Let's talk. You think I got their business? Yeah. So it's that, we can crunch it any way we want, but that's the beauty of LinkedIn. If you know how to operate it and how to search, you're going to have a lot more chances to have conversations. So questions, comments, anything I can answer for people, or disagreements, right? No, I don't agree with that, Brian.
Well, I sent this in the chat, but can you use the filters that you just mentioned to look for new job opportunities, or look at it from that perspective as opposed to client leads?
Absolutely, you can. I just don't have the time because it's a whole different strategy, because you have to go into jobs and you have to go into companies, and there's a lot more strategic work that you'll spend when you're doing your reviewing. But the simple answer, I guess I can answer, if you are looking for a job per se, LinkedIn Jobs is looking at your profile for the keyword that matches their description. So your LinkedIn profile, if you're on the job hunt, has to be flexible, right? You may change it daily depending on what job you're going for. So you want to grab the description, put it back in your profile, then apply for the job. And then when you do, the computer is going to recognize, hey, this candidate has all the words we're looking for. We should interview him. Right. So my job, I'm not even a recruiter, but my job placement for Friends is about 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a job, right, I could probably, if you do that strategy, you'll probably get a job, at least an offer, in 2 weeks. Knock on wood, but that's the best way to do it. Any other questions? I saw something pop up in the chat. Do I ever do a training on business utilization of LinkedIn posts versus the more individual user? Not sure I follow. Do you want to answer? Just ask me that. So as far as my training goes, I guess the sense is that, everyone has a different scope, interests, and, business plan. LinkedIn, you can do 100 things or you can do one, right? So I really, when you're doing a group of, 50 to 100 people, I can't get too custom into what you're trying to do. But I think, just really focus on your ideal target client and learn the advanced filters and start really crafting your connection requests. Is going to help you the most.
And Brian, I think that question was from a company perspective. So the company page on LinkedIn, do you have a training for?
Oh, so Yeah, that's so company pages I definitely are important, and that is a whole nother can of worms, right? So I am working with a real estate company with 14,000 agents and 280 offices. And the short answer is this: if you have a company and you have, over, 20 to, 500 employees, you really want to protect your brand integrity and your brand identity. What that means is everyone on your company at least consistent in their LinkedIn profile, right? Now you can't make it mandatory, but you could suggest and create a template and say, everybody who works at my firm should have this in the about section, should have this in the experience section, right? Or should have this certification. Now, if 100 people at your company all did that, you just put 100 times the SEO visibility on LinkedIn for that particular product or service. So it's in your best interest to have everybody have a clean LinkedIn with at least the keywords for your profile about what you do, because it'll multiply by however many employees you have. So I can definitely do a training on that. Again, it's we've got the individual, the companies, there's groups, there's quite a few other areas you can go into, but everything has its own strategy, and that can, you can have 5 or 6 different verticals as well and opportunities out there. So I think it's quite amazing from a sales perspective as far as how much data you're getting. And if you study any neurolinguistic programming and you understand human behavior, you would be surprised how you can put the pieces together and actually learn to speak people's language and put a better presentation together. I can find out, should I present to you digitally, by phone, or by video, right? So I'll be able to little personality clues based on the iconography of what you like and what you do and what you said about yourself in the profile. So it's a whole nother level if you want to take the time, but don't dismiss it as, oh, that's just another social media. I don't really need LinkedIn. I don't get it. You don't have to get it. Just understand the advanced filters and do what you do. And that's shaking hands and picking up the phone and, and creating relationships. So thank you very much, everybody, for having me on the call today. I really enjoyed it, and it's always fun to work with other people in the the real estate industry as well. So, and I do miss San Diego. So to see a few surfboards in the background in people's offices was always a nice to see. I wish I was there. So catch a wave for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Brian, and thanks everybody for joining for the first Lunch and Learn of the year.
Thank you. Thanks,
You guys.
Carly.
Thanks.